Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. In this week's technical analysis, I'm just going to start off with Bitcoin Cash, as that's been the main fundamental driver behind the price action uncertainty in the markets of late. And I think last week I said we were approaching possibly the biggest week in Bitcoin's history, and I thought the future was still very bright, but we just had to get these short-term issues out of the way. So Bitcoin Cash hit the markets, and I sent a message out to members saying that this is not a true representation of price, and some basic fundamentals of economics, supply and demand, meant that a lot of supply was locked up in those cold wallets where people had moved to ensure they received their Bitcoin Cash. And once it hit the market, I thought fair value was somewhere between $200 and $300. So members were able to lock in some nice profits here, and we were also playing these bounces and shorting the market on the way down. And one thing that I was looking at really closely was just the blocks in the Bitcoin Cash network. They were slow to be mined, but it was almost like clockwork when we were seeing these $60 million of Bitcoin Cash finally hit exchanges and being sold off, okay? And we made some nice profits shorting this. So I'm sure that there's still a lot of people out there that haven't yet sold their Bitcoin Cash or moved it to exchanges. So I'm keeping a close eye on that, and I think Bitcoin Cash is now here to stay. So we might step in and buy if we see a clear bottom, but that's something I'll be watching closely for the time being. So obviously once that news was out of the way and the Bitcoin Cash price was clear that it was declining, and a lot of that uncertainty was cleared up, and people stepped in to buy Bitcoin, okay? So last week we were looking for a bit more of a decline to finish off this bracket, and sure enough, for this next bracket came and we got a strong push up. And I'll just zoom into the 4-hour chart and show you those levels that a lot of people were looking at. So we did sort of try to get through this 2870 level a few times, and we weren't able to, and it was just getting tighter and tighter, a bit of an uptrend line forming here. And once we broke through and got through those all-time highs, okay, I sent a message out to members during the week that it was only a question of time for me. I was expecting a big move. I thought that this wave 4 correction was over, and my initial target once we break the all-time highs was between 3250 and 3300, and that's sort of where we're just catching our breath again now. So if we zoom back out to that daily chart, let's see how this plays out, as that I'm sure there's going to be a wave of positive announcements hit the mainstream news this week. We could see big investment money step in, as I've spoken about. So we might need to take a breather here for a little while, but obviously my long-term targets for Bitcoin are still a lot higher than this. So as far as Ethereum goes, I think last week I spoke about this last little bracket pushing down, and all eyes really been on Bitcoin. We're waiting to see how that played out, and I sent a message out to members just saying that I was happy to step in and buy at 220, as I think the spotlight's been on Bitcoin, and Ethereum's no longer the coin on everyone's mind, okay? And we only need the slightest bit of attention or good news, and I think we get at least a $20 jump. And if we zoom into the 4-hour chart again, you can see a bit more clearly that sort of wedge that I was looking at, and when I entered that trade and we broke out, and we've had a strong impulsive move. And again, Bitcoin's outperformed Ethereum, and Ethereum's a long way from those all-time highs. But now that we've got a positive news and everyone's stepping back in, it would not surprise me to see us to continue to drift higher in Ethereum as well. Now, Litecoin, last week I said that there was a little bit of damage being done to this chart as we hadn't closed behind this long-term trend line before. Now, when drawing trend lines, it's important you either use closes or pierce lows, and I've drawn in this other long-term trend line to the pierce lows, and that's still intact, but Litecoin was able to repair that damage after a few days closing below that long-term trend line. We got that positive news, and again, I'm a bit surprised to how well Litecoin's held up, considering we have Bitcoin Cash with bigger blocks trying to compete with coins like Litecoin, and Bitcoin looking to do 2x part of the SegWit, and Litecoin having SegWit. So basically, Litecoin's got a lot of headwinds, but it refuses to go down in price. And I think the Litecoin holders are very loyal, unbiased group compared to a lot of others. And when I started my VIP membership, I was surprised at how many people have been paying in Litecoin. And those long-term holders that have been here since the few dollar mark, okay, they're not selling. They're believers in cryptocurrency. And yeah, just really surprised at how well Litecoin's held up. And I think it shows a lot of faith in the Litecoin crowd as to where cryptocurrency in general is going in the long term. So again, we got a nice bounce off these brackets, which are just behaving perfectly of late. And this isn't always going to be the case. So we've got to make the most of these trading opportunities because they're not always going to be this easy and obeying the technicals and cycle brackets this well. So now I just want to add Neo, a coin that I did some fundamental analysis on the 21st of July. I put out a buy to members and said that I was adding this one to my core portfolio for the longer term. I put out a video about the fundamental analysis, the reasons why I like it, and I've put in some initial brackets. I might need to adjust these depending on if more money flows in from different countries. All those sort of things affect how I align my cycle brackets. But at the moment, this is a really nice chart of some ups and downs. We've got a big push up here, and this was the big resistance that a lot of people were looking at. We had a little bit of a pullback and a retest, and we've burst through. So now we've only got those all-time highs in our sights for Neo with their rebranding, and obviously another important day for them tomorrow. A lot of people waiting for that 8th of August upgrade. So this bracket's extending for another few days. I don't see any reason why Neo can't keep going up as well. So if you guys have enjoyed the Neo analysis and you want me to do possibly more coins in the future, I'm happy to consider that. So leave some comments below. I'll also be doing a live stream tonight on the things I'm looking at for picking market tops and bottoms, as the members room has performed extremely well in that regard over the last few weeks, being able to navigate the swings. So we're not a day trading room. We concentrate on fundamental analysis and knowledge building to help us look for good levels on the technicals for entries and exits in longer term time frames. But if you'd be interested in that live stream, I'll be doing that from 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I'll talk to you guys tonight. Cheers.